Right, chapter 1, class 1. The course is Intro Managerial Accounting. Don't get it wrong, the textbook, you may say 10th edition, but all the content is the new content. It's just a camouflage. So let's go with the managerial accounting for the business, and let's explain what's happened with this managerial accounting. In order to understand this course, what I want, I'm going to ask you something. First thing first, stop thinking like an employee. You're not employee anymore. Stop thinking like the students. Yes, you're students, but in order to understand everything and everything to make in this course to make sense, you have to start thinking as a managers. And believe me, you already manage so many things in your life. So start thinking yourself as a manager. Start change your perspective, change your mindset, and see the thing on the management perspective, not as an employee, not as a worker, not as a student. Then everything is going to make sense. So obviously, every organization has a manager. You are a manager. If you don't believe me that, some of you have a family, and to some extent, you're managing something in that family. Some of you, even if you don't have other family members, you still have your household, and you're managing that household. So technically, you're managing something. It is going to be your life. It is going to be some surrounding area. You're managing something. What is the important activity that every manager is doing? There's some major activities that are common for every manager. First activity, and the more important is, even though it's not saying here, is you to have a goal. Once you have a goal, then you start applying the activities which are going to bring you to the goal. First thing that you have to do is obviously you have to plan. You have to assess where you are, you have to set up your goal, and then you're planning how, from where I am, I'm going to go all the way that I want to be. How, from what I don't have, I'm going to get the things that I have, that I want, and obviously have. So during those processes, once you do the planning, once you finish with the planning, then you start directing and motivating yourself. Now, in the company, once the company has a goal, you have to understand the company goal. Then you start doing the planning stage. You're going to plan how this company is going to achieve the goal that they want to achieve. Then you're going to start directly motivating the employees around you, they to work together to achieve that goal. In the meantime, you have to do the control activity. We're going to see what the control activity is in a few seconds. And all the way through this process, you have to do the decision making. Let's start with the planning stage. In order you to do the planning, again, you have to have a goal. Different people, different goals. Different companies, different goals. What we can say for the business, if you become a business owner, so obviously every business owner goal is to generate profit. Unfortunately, the profit is not going to help you. So basically, you need cash. You always prefer cash than the profit. So the question is, how are we going to get the cash? In order you to do that, you have to identify different alternatives going to bring you to the goal. Again, for the business, obviously the goal is to generate profit in form of cash. Now, for the individual level, it's a different goal. That goal is different goals going to determine the different alternatives that you have available based on what you want to achieve. Once you identify the alternative, then you can start selecting which alternatives going to bring me to what I want the fastest and in the cheapest way, maybe. Right? Once you do that, once you identify the alternative, once you choose the alternative which is going to bring you to your goal, then you have to start set up the budget. Budget will be how from where the resource is going to come and how you're going to use the resources. We're going to see the budget and preparation of the budget in chapter 9 or first chapter after the midterm. But that's part of the planning stage, setting the budget, which again is going to guide you towards to the goal by using the alternative that you already been selected. So everything is going to make sense only and only if you have a goal. If you don't have a goal, there's nothing to plan for. What do you need to plan? My goal is nothing. My goal is to watch TV. Then I have to plan. How can I watch TV? Should I put the TV on the window, or should I put it on the wall, or should I put it on the ceiling, or should I use my cell phone as a TV, or should I watch it on the iPad? Which is going to give me the most comfortability? Once I set up the TV, then I have to think about it. Well, when should I watch it? Should I lie on the bed, or should I sit on the couch, or should I sit on the chair? What exactly should I do? Right? Why? Because my goal is to watch TV. Then I'm gonna find alternatives that's gonna give me the best possible option for me to watch the TV. Same thing with you today. You decide your goal, obviously, some of you was to attend this lecture or to take this course. Then you start trying different alternatives to get to this course. Obviously, none of the alternative work until there become availability that this course is available for one more section, and then you jump to that alternative to get to this course. Once you did that, now you have to complete the course. That's the next planning stage that you have to put yourself. On the planning stage for yourself right now, you can easily put how can I move from where I am right now until the end of the course? So what will be my life in the next 3 months, which is May, June, July? What kind of effort I can put? Should I put the extra effort, or should I just cruise to the course, or should I enjoy the weather outside? It's the summer at the end of the day. The day is long. That's why we can stay here at 9:30. It's still going to be day after we finish. But again, everything is based on the planning. Once you're done with the planning, next thing is to directly motivate yourself. Why do you need to directly motivate yourself or the other people? Because people have one interesting, what can I say? It's a benefit. One interesting benefit. We forget. And usually we forget what is the most important for us. So somewhere in the middle of the whole process, you're gonna forget what your goal is. For that reason, you have to directly motivate yourself not to forget what your goal is. Not to forget that you already have a plan. Not to forget that you already choose alternative, which you're thinking is the best alternative for you. So how often you have to directly motivate yourself? Pretty much every day. Sometimes even a few times a day, in order to stay on the track to achieve your goal. That's the interesting part here. You're not working for somebody else's interest. If you want to use this management process for your personal benefits, you're not working for somebody else's benefit. You're working for your personal benefit here. You're trying to directly motivate yourself to get what you want. Now, when you start working the company, and if you're the manager, obviously, one of the objectives is, yes, you to meet the target of sales, but that target of sales is going to give you some access to some bonus. So you directly influence of the goal which already be set up from the company for you. So for that reason, now you have to start directly motivating everybody else, which are involved in the process. So first, the company can achieve what they want, and second, you to achieve what you want. What you have to, in the company, in the business, what you have to do is you have to deal with the assignment. You have to tell the people what to do. Sometimes you're going to go to the environment And you're gonna start seeing people sitting and watching and waiting you. And you start wondering, what are these people waiting for? Well, waiting for you. You're the manager. You to tell them what to do. Not that they don't know what to do, but they're still waiting for you to tell them what to do. That will be the directing you to tell them, hey, do this. And then the next thing they're expecting to see is, how do you want me to do this? And in the meantime, you have to motivate them as well, because people usually they're losing their motivation. You have to be able to solve the routine problems, and you have to be able to solve the complex problem. You have to be solve conflicts. If you're dealing with the humans, what's interesting with the humans, they tend sometimes to have a conflict between each other. You as a manager, you have to deal with that part of the job as well. In order to do that, obviously, it's going to be very important you to be a very effective communicator. It's not going to work if you cannot express yourself in the clear way so that people can understand you and clearly to understand what is required from them, when it's required, and how they're supposed to do it. So that's one of the management skills as well, you to be effective communicators. Don't leave any questions on the table. Because again, people are rational. As soon as they see conflict, as soon as they see problem, they're going to walk away. Or they're going to start doing things that you don't like. Then you have to step up and start solving the routine problems or resolving some conflicts in the organization that you work in. Controlling. That's the another part of the management job, to control. What you need to control? Very simple. You need to control how you're going to achieve your goal. Now, the control function is going to come only for one reason. The reason is you to assess where you are versus where you're supposed to be in order to achieve your goal. So again, everything makes sense if you have a goal. And if you have a goal, again, you already did the plan. If you did the plan, you start directly motivating yourself. If you start directly motivating yourself, at some point you have to check, where am I based on my planning stage, where I'm supposed to be. And then you start comparing actual with the budget. That's part of the control function. And you to understand, okay, where am I far away from what I want to achieve or getting closer? How close I am to my plan? Am I sticking with the plan? Am I following the plan? Or am I falling behind the plan? Where am I? And obviously, during the control, once you assess actual state versus the planning state, you can take a corrective action. But you won't be able to take a corrective action if you don't control, if you don't apply the control function. Again, the control function is for only one reason, to make sure that you are on the right track to achieve your goal. If you don't have a goal, you won't achieve anything. Control doesn't make any sense to be implemented. Now, taking with the decision making, what will be decision making? Decision making is the process of every of those stages where the rational person doing intelligent decisions. So this is a basic managerial, the most basic managerial skills, which is going to give you, which is ability to make intelligent, data-driven decisions. Many of those decisions always going to solve the problem. In the company, they're going to solve not only three, there'll be more, but the most important questions will be, what should be selling? If we're not selling, who should be servicing. If you're not in the merchandising company, obviously you're not going to sell, and you're going to have to service somebody. And then the service company, who you should be servicing, and how we should execute the selling and the services, and how we should execute our ideas in order to become reality. You have the plan, which is in the future, which is hypothetical thing. You have the budget, which is a great starting point of the plan. You start directly motivating, but you have to make a decisions. What exactly to do? Today, you make so many decisions. As soon as we wake up, we start making decisions. The first probably decision is, should I keep sleeping or should I wake up? And once you decide, okay, done with the sleeping, I want to wake up, then you start decision after decision after decision after decision. If you have to go to lecture, what should I wear today? How should I go to the college? Should I walk? Should I go take a SkyTrain? Should I drive? Should I get a Uber? Then you're choosing one alternative and move on. And then keep going with the next decision, next decision, next decision, next decision. Every decision again, you have a goal, you have objective, you stick with the plan, you decide choosing the alternative, picking the alternative, directly motivating yourself, and at the end, controlling yourself. Control will be simple is, if the lecture starts at 6:30, am I on time? That will be control here. If my planning stage, let's say, let's pretend we decide to go to the lecture, we actually have to be on the in-class lecture and you have to be 6:30 in the class. So now you have to do the plan. What time I should leave home? And then you're going with which be the right alternative to go to the college. And then you start motivating. You see one friend on the way to college, you see one friend, hey, where are you going? I'm going to a party. Oh my God, well, who's going to be there? This and this and this person. Where are you going? Oh, I have a lecture. What's the lecture? Intro managerial account. That's the first lecture. Yes, it's the first lecture. So, oh, you can skip it. Let's go to a party. Who's going to be there? This and this and this. Oh my God, yeah, oh my, I'm going to miss so many people. But then you have to motivate yourself. You say, hold on a second now. I want to be a manager. I want to learn more things. So I have to stick with what I choose. Yeah, this is tempting. When I go there, I have more opportunities to see these people, to do some activities, but I better stick with something more boring, but it's going to give me some benefits later in my life. That's how you directing yourself. And then you're checking yourself. What time is it? Okay, it's 15 minutes before 6:30. Where am I? I'm getting closer to Douglas College. At 6:20, probably you're leaving the SkyTrain station. Let's go. Do you choose to go to the SkyTrain? For 10 minutes, can I climb the hill and be the classroom? Yes, I can. So let's push a little bit. So that's the controlling stage. If you feel that you start falling behind, you're going to push a little bit on the hill. You may even run and be in the class 2 minutes before. The best case scenario is to be relaxed 5 minutes before the start of the class, not too early, not too late, be on time, using the effectively all the time that you have to do some other activities. This is management, people. That's exactly how all the activities are involved in the single activity, you to be in the lecture on time. And you're the one who's doing all these management uh, activities just to be on time. Now, look at your life and you're going to see how many activities, how many activities you're doing in your personal life that you need the management skills, which involve planning, directly motivating, controlling, and decision making all across. Now let's go talk about a little bit big data. Everybody's obsessed with this big data income. What we're going to do with the big data? Obviously, we're going to let artificial intelligence dealing with the big data. We're just going to stay on the site and enjoy it, right? Now the company now making the decisions based on the analytical approaches. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to start collecting this very, very, very extensive amount of data from a different variety of sources, mostly from the users. What most of the companies doing lately is they collecting all the available information for everybody and start analyzing that information. For what? For their personal benefits. It's estimated that less than 5%, 0.5% of the available data currently is being analyzed. Well, that was before. If we take a look at the data now, with the help of the artificial intelligence or artificial intelligence with help of the humans, now I don't know which will be the right thing to express it. Humans with help with artificial intelligence or artificial intelligence with help with from the humans. But we have to figure out one day is start doing this analysis. The big data refer to the large collections of the data, which is gathered from inside or outside of the company, provide opportunity for ongoing reporting and analysis. As you see, there's so many different ways with company to collect the data or organization to collect the data. They have, you can collect the data based on the customer preferences, customer consumption, customer availability, customer location, all different things. Who collecting the data today? Who collecting personal data for you? So many people. At this point, so many people collecting data, so many companies, so many businesses collecting the data. One of those are your favorite Google. Why? Because we're constantly logging our Google account. Why? Because it's convenient on all our devices. Everything on every device that you go, the first once you start searching for something, the Google tells you, or the search engine tells you, please log to your account. So I can make it even, your experience even more valuable. Well, thank you so much. I prefer to be incognito when I'm doing my searches. I'm sorry. Why? Because again, we collecting information. Now, in the big data will be structured and unstructured. Structure will be in form of the memos and the report, and unstructured will be video, speech, audio, any other digital form. As soon as you log in your account and put me like on your cell phone, then I start searching everything that I can find for you. And what happened one day? One day my wife's coming and say, you know what? Something strange happened with our car. I say, well, what do you mean? I mean, I'm going to the car. I start the engine, and the car suddenly gave me the rules for our daughter's soccer game. How is that possible? And she started thinking that, well, I'm going to this field like every third week because the schedule changes every 3 weeks. So basically, the artificial intelligence or since she's constantly looking on her cell phone and whoever monitor the data and her behavior, he already figured out that every third week she's going to this soccer field. So once she step in the car and turn on the engine, the car automatically show her the routes to that where she normally goes every third week. Boom, done. Big data works with using structured, unstructured data to make your life easier. So the big data often is discussed as the 5 V's. First of the first 3 of those V's are variety, volume, and velocity. Now let's see what's the variety. Variety refers to the data format in which information is stored. So basically, I can store the information different points, different formats. Word document, Excel document, if you want PDF format, video format, text formats, number formats, so different formats. Second one is related to the volume. Volume refers to continuously expanding the quantity of the data that company must gather, cleanse, organize, and analyze. Since we don't have we don't have problem with the storing the data. And what's the easiest? The easiest for us is just to collect the data. Since the storing the data is not a problem anymore. The company just collecting the data. What kind of data? Any kind of data. Anything that can be collected. Velocity and that data expanding, it's getting bigger, and there's no limitation on what exactly I'm gonna be recording, or gonna be storing, or gonna gather, or how I'm gonna organize it. Velocity speak of the rate of which the data are received and acted by the organization. This is particularly important where the data have a limited shelf life. If the data has a limited shelf life, obviously you have to use a high velocity. The remaining V is the value and veracity. Value obviously implies to the expenditure of time and money that organization needs to analyze the big data in order to create value to the shareholders. That's why most of the big corporations right now doing one thing and one thing only. They just creating artificial intelligence, which artificial intelligence is gonna help them to reduce the time that they need to analyze the big data in order to prepare the reports, which is valuable for the stakeholders. Why? Because humans are naturally slow. Humans are naturally, let's say, I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's unreliable. Why? Because compared to artificial intelligence, let's go the other way. The artificial intelligence, let's put it this way, the artificial intelligence doesn't get sick. Doesn't use sick days. The artificial intelligence doesn't complain about it's too hot in the room, I need air conditioning, or it's too cold in the room, I need a heater. I cannot do it right now because last night I didn't sleep well. I need to take a break. I need to go for lunch. I need to sleep. The artificial intelligence doesn't sleep, doesn't take a break, doesn't take a sick days, doesn't take vacation, doesn't drink coffee, doesn't spill coffee over the keyboard of the computer. It's just sitting there and keep working and analyzing the data, prepare the reports. The fact that you don't like the reports doesn't change the fact that the artificial intelligence can prepare those reports. The last thing is veracity. Veracity refers to the fact that the users expect their data to be accurate and trustworthy. Now, for the management of accounting profession, veracity may be the most important of the 5V, because what we need accurate and trustworthy information in order to make decisions which actually can impact the corporation or the company or the environment that we're working with. From the managerial accounting standpoint, the goal of the manager should be use the data analytics to drive the value from the big data. Now, the data analytics that will refer to the process of analyzing the data, which help the specialized system and software to draw a conclusion about the information. And obviously, the managers have to communicate those findings from their data analysis through the organization by using the visualization techniques, we are more visual. We want to see graphics. We want to see pictures. We want to see map. We want to see charts. We want to see videos. We like to watch a TikTok video. I don't want to watch uh, like a movie, which now is. How do you feel when you have to watch now at this age? You have to watch, go to the movie theater and watch movie for 2.5 hours. Long time ago, probably would be super excited. Now the young generation, pay attention for 2.5 hours watching the movie. Come, that's too much. So what we need some tools. You as a manager. So listen, we as a manager, we have to understand to whom we're presenting the information and how we can to present the information. Uh, when was that? Yesterday. Yesterday I was listening on the radio. Something very interesting which struck me, and I had to repeat it at least 2 times, otherwise I'm gonna forget it, and so I can kind of feel it. Now, how they calling? Do you know how they calling the Gen Z, Generation Z today? Yesterday, I found out they call them the Columbus generation, the new Columbus generation, which coming from Christopher Columbus, who discovered America. Why they calling them that? Because they start discovering things that already been discovered. But that's something that we have to understand those things, and we have to keep going. So data analytics, what's in the data analytics? With the data analytics, you're going to have uh, can be used for different purposes. One is the descriptive analytics. Those who are used to answer the question, what happened? And descriptive analysis, they're going to tell you what happened in the company or what happened in this situation, what happened in the past. Diagnostic is why this happened. Whatever happened, what's the reason for that to happen? Predictive is once we know what happened, once we understand how that happened, what can we predict what's going to happen? And prescriptive is obviously what we should do. Since we know what happened, since we know how that happened, since we know what will happen, what shall we do? It's very interesting. Some people they can analyze what happened. They can analyze how that happened and why that happened. They can predict what's going to happen, and that's why they stop. They don't doing anything about it. And after that, they say, you know what? I knew this going to happen. So what's the value if you knew that this is going to happen and you haven't done anything about it? In that case, I prefer that I haven't done any of those three before. So how are we going to put everything? Once we have this perspective on the management and what the management doing is, again, we going to define our goal, short-term and long-term plan. That's why I ask you for your discussion, you to start thinking what is short-term goal, what's the long-term goal. So during this course, by acquiring those management skills, you to put yourself in the position that you can achieve your goals. I don't want you to be in the position that you're going to set up goals and which are not unachievable or something that you cannot not attend, or you put yourself in the too optimistic or too pessimistic. Be realistic, put the goals which are reasonable and start working on it. That will be your planning stage. Then during the planning stage, once you finish with the planning, you always have to direct and motivate how they implement the plan, how we're going to do this, how we're going to do this, how we're going to achieve this, how we're going to go from this point to that point to this point to that point, which is going to bring me to my goal. How to motivate yourself. Again, people usually forget what they want Not to mention that they don't know what they want in the first place. But that's even if they find out what they want, then they tend to forget it. Why? Because we are easily tempted by the other things, and we forget what our focus should be. Same thing with the companies, because this company, believe me, they are run by humans. And if one person get distracted, that means somebody else is going to be distracted as well. Then we're going to have this controlling. Again, use the controlling to assess where you are compared to where you're supposed to be in order to achieve your goal. Use the controlling function to help you to achieve your goals, not only personal, as a business. And obviously, always compare the actual with the planned performance. See where you are, analyze the situation, see what happened, predict what would happen if I do this, and start doing it. How this gonna work? Okay, you have the goal, you have the idea with the planning, you have the idea with directly motivating, you have the idea with the um, controlling yourself. You have the idea with the decision making. How this gonna work? Well, it's not gonna work if you don't have the right strategy. Now we have to come to the strategy. And we have to choose our strategy. But before we choose our strategy, we have to see what is strategy. Now, trust me, I've been going through so many textbooks in this managerial accounting, and I try to find how can I say, the most appealing definition. And so far, this is the most appealing definition that I like. I personally like, and I personally can feel it. I want you to feel it too. Now, the strategy, I'm going to bring this one. If you have a chance to take advanced managerial accounting with me, I'm going to bring this one on the strategy in advanced managerial accounting as well. So the strategy is a game plan that enables a company or you to attract customers by distinguish itself or the company from the other competitors. Let's go again. Strategy is a game plan that gives you ability you to attract the customers. How? By distinguishing yourself from everybody else. Simple thing is very simple. Imagine you going for the job interview. Your goal is to get the job. Now the question is, do you have the strategy? And somebody going, oh, what that means? Strategy is how you're going to attract the employer by distinguishing yourself from everybody else which are attending the same job interview so you can get the job. Because if you don't distinguish yourself from everybody else, why should they get you? You have so many examples in your personal life. You're going, let's say, let's go together now for shopping in Winners. Right? There's so many clothes there. There's so many t-shirts, then so many pants. What makes you to buy the one that you just bought? Because somehow you found them distinctive than everybody on all the other items which is sitting on the same section on the same hanger. What makes them distinctive? It doesn't matter. It might be the size, it might be the shape, it might be the color, it might be the price. But something makes them distinctive than everything else. That's why caught your attention. That's why you pick them from the hanger. That's why you put them in your basket. That's why you went to the cashier, you pay for them, and after that you wear them. Because believe it or not, that manufacturer had strategy. What was his strategy? To attract you to choose that particular cloth, not anything else, because those are distinctive than everybody else. This will be the focal point which you should use to attract the customers. The strategy is a focal point to target the customers. Now, why do you need to target the customers? Well, who pays the money? From where the money comes in the company, in the business, it comes from the customer. From where the money comes in your pocket, from the customer. Now you're going to tell me, well, how I'm not business? Yes, you're not business. I'm correct. That's correct. But you providing services. By going for the job interview, you're not going there just because I cannot do anything. I'm totally incompetent of everything. I have no knowledge whatsoever for the job that I'm applying here. But you know what? I'm going to enjoy the $65,000 that you pay for this job. And guess what? You're not going to get hired. So you have to provide some service. Now the question is, to whom you're providing the service? To your customer. Who is your customer? The employer. So the question is, how are you going to target your customer? How are you going to target your employer so he can choose you and you only? So imagine you're that clothes that's sitting on the hanger, which you picked the last time that you wore in Winners or in any store. That's how we should see the strategy. And you have to have the strategy in place. So let's see what options you have for the strategy. First strategy is the customer intimacy, which means you have to get intimate. It doesn't mean you have to get intimate with the customer, but in fact, that's exactly what it means. You have to know everything about the customers. You have to understand and respond to the customer individual needs, what he wants, what he dream about it, when he dream about it, everything, what he's doing right now, so you can attract him. What's going to happen once you constantly log in your Google account and the Google says that between 6:30 and 9:30, there's no activity on your cell phone? Well, very simple. They're going to do some research where you are. How? By your location, because your location right now is turned on. And you're going to find out that you're at home. What you're doing, you're sitting in front of the screen. How hard will it be for me to figure out that you're sitting in front of the screen? Then very simple. What I'm going to do, by activity that you're sharing in LinkedIn and all the things, I'm going to find out that you're in college. I can draw enough information to find, are you a student right now? Which semester you are? Which courses you're studying? Who is your teacher? What's the lecture? And I know now from 6:30 to 9:30, you won't be available. So I'm not going to bother you sending you text messages or sending you commercials when you're checking your cell phone. But after 9:30, I'll proactively start sending you everything that you're watching before 6:30 was background on when you're checking your email. Why I'm doing this? Because I understand and respond to your customer needs. Believe it or not, when you go and watch YouTube, uh, obviously running a TV, that's not a surprise for anyone else anymore. But take a few seconds to understand who's sitting behind the screen and what's the age of the person. And once after that, start feeding you with another video, another video, another video, another video. That's why sometimes even I catching myself, I want to just see something and suddenly I'm spending uh, X amount of time watching something that I didn't even know why I'm watching. Why? Because somebody did his homework. He collect information which helps him to understand in the report, respond to the individual customer needs. Now, put this one in your mind when you start looking for the next job. What you have to do is to understand and respond to the needs of the customer, which will be your employer. You're going there and you give them exactly when they want it, that's exactly the way you want, when they want it, and exactly when they want it. And then you're going to get the job. The other option is the operational excellence. Operational excellence is referred to the cost leadership strategy. Cost leadership strategy will be you're going to deliver the product or the service faster than everybody else, more conveniently than everybody else, and cheaper than everybody else. The opposite of the cost leadership strategy is the value leadership strategy or product leadership strategy. What will be that? Then you're going to deliver a highly unique product with the exceptional quality. Obviously, the high quality comes with the high price. Now we have good examples here. I'm going to use using the examples here. Of course, for the product leadership strategy, you can easily put Chanel. You can easily put in the picture Louis Vuitton. You can easily put in the picture Hermes. On the operational excellence strategy, on the other hand, compared to those three brands, you can put Coach. Or you can put all the other. Guess probably, yeah, Guess can fall in that category, but the Guess are a little bit more on the high quality product. But it's still not on the level of Hermes and Louis Vuitton and Chanel for the people that understand what I'm talking about. Right? So you can see they're still chasing the excellency, but by providing the same items cheaper. With the other people, they don't care about cost. You don't want to wear Louis Vuitton, that's fine with me. I'm not for you anyway. But I want it, then find a way to get it. Right? And there's so many examples for the leadership strategy. If you want to see the leadership strategy, watch tomorrow's basketball game. Watch in the yellow jersey, you're going to see number 23. That's a perfect example of the leadership strategy. The 41 years old person with the jersey 23. I know probably that's 23 jersey is coming from MJ, but you can see at the 41 year how he can lead on the level which is exceptional level. And you want him on the court. You don't want him on the bench. Most people on the 41, you don't even want to see them in the team. You want him on the court. Why? Because he's giving you that leadership, which you cannot get it from probably 90% of the young people, which are 20 years younger than him. So the question is, what will be your strategy that you're going to choose so you can differentiate yourself from everybody else in order to attract the customers? Because if you don't get the customers, you're not going to get the cash. That's with the strategy. Let's go with now with something more not that exciting. And let's go with the comparison between financial and managerial accounting. And you know the two branches of the accounting, which are both using the accounting data, both using the information from the accounting system, but for different purposes. Financial reporting is using it to present the reports to the outsider of the company, which is the external users, which are creditors and lenders or investors. If you still remember from the, I mean, you're not there yet. I'm sorry. For a second, I was thinking that you are in advanced managerial accounting. You're gonna see later. Then in the if you go with the accounting, you're gonna see international financial reporting standards, and that the users of financial statements are investor, creditors, and lenders, which are external users. The users of managerial accounting are the managers, are the people who working inside of the company, the main people who actually make decisions about single product or single process or single decisions. Time focus on the financial reporting is based on the using the historical perspective to present the reports for the people who wants to spend their money. Where in the managerial accounting, we are more focused on the future. Still, we're going to use the accounting system information, but we're going to focus on the future. For that reason, the financial accounting reports has to be verified in order to be objective. So we're focusing on objectivity and verifiability, where in the managerial accounting, we are more concerned on relevance. Is this report that you're preparing is relevant to the decision that I want to make? Don't give me the cost of the electricity if I want to save on the bill for the water. Next one is the subject. The subject on the no, actually the precision. The precision of financial reporting we chase in the high precision. Where in the managerial accounting, I chase the. I don't need the report to be that precise, but I want them to be on time. Where in the financial reporting, I can wait a little bit. Just make it accurate, make it precise. On the managerial, I cannot wait. You have to. I need this report right away. The subject is focused on the company as organization for the financial reporting, where the managerial accounting, I don't care about the company as a whole. If I'm looking for the Starbucks, Starbucks, they're producing coffee. Most of the businesses to sell coffee, yes, they're selling all the food and sandwiches and anything, but the main profit, I guess, is coming from the coffee. Now, if you give me the report of Starbucks, where for the Starbucks organization or Starbucks corporation, the financial reports at the year end, where on that report I can see how much profit I'm getting for the regular latte and how much profit I'm getting for the medium-sized black coffee. How much is my profit on the beverages? How much is my profit coming from the other drinks, soft drinks that I'm selling? I cannot see those one. But those reports going to help me to identify which is my most attractive product that I'm selling, and I can focus on that product or can make some changes in order to sell more of those products. Rules in the financial accounting, obviously, we have to apply general accounting principles for the small companies, accounting standard for the private enterprises, for the publicly traded company, international financial reporting standards. Where in the managerial accounting, no rules. Just give me the numbers. What kind of rules you want to use? It's up to you. Just plus minus is fine with me. So basically, in the managerial accounting, I can use the rules from 1965 or 1954. Still going to be applicable. Actually, you can find very interesting information in those textbooks from the old age. Requirements. Financial reports, those are required, those are mandatory. You don't have options with that. With the managerial accounting, it's not mandatory. You don't have to do anything. You don't even have to study this course. That's the beauty of the managerial accounting. Managerial accounting, everything that you're gonna learn from this course, at the end of the day, you can throw it in the garbage. Why? Because it's not mandatory. Nobody gonna ask you for those reports. So you may see the company that just happen to be profitable. They don't need to provide any managerial reports. Why? Because this happen to be profitable. Yeah, they don't know why they're profitable. They don't know on which product should focus, on which product should not focus, or how to become more efficient. But they're profitable anyway. Why do they care about those things? Why do they need to spend more money for somebody to give them those reports or to develop artificial intelligence when they already make money? So that's the interesting part with the managerial accounting. Let's keep going with the next one. And the next one, we're going to see now the company structure. On the company structure, when we're talking about the company structure, by the way, on the chat, there's some comments about the value leadership example with number 3 in the yellow jersey. That will be the second one. That will be the most scoring guy in the history of NBA today. That will be the one. Stephen Curry, he's also there, yes, definitely, but he's not on the playoffs, right? You won't see him tomorrow. Probably he's on vacation. Let's go. What we're going to do with the organization, the structure organization for the company. Now, we're going to see later in chapter 10, sorry, chapter 11, that will be chapter 11, that at some point, yeah, you may start your own business. Yes, you can start your own business, but at some point you have to understand that you doing everything, that's too much. I'm starting realizing this, but I'm at the age that I don't want to start my own business, or maybe I should start my own business. I'll see. But in order to do that, I have to delegate the things that I'm doing to some other people. That means I have to move to decentralized system. In order to move to the decentralized system, you have to create a structure. Structure will be for the big corporation. The structure is very simple. You have those shareholders, which shareholders they want cash, but they don't want to get involved in any operations. So what they're going to do, they're going to elect the board of directors, and board of directors is going to start working for their interest, which their interest is to get cash. So the board of directors is going to appoint the president, and the president is going to appoint a different type of uh, people inside the company, which is going to have, every each of them is going to have some uh, names and some labels, like a chief financial officer or vice president of operation or purchasing manager or a production manager, and they're going to start working. And then we're going to have two type of employees and positions. One will be the line position, which is directly related to achieving the basic objectives. And then we're going to have a staff position. Staff position simply is going to help the line positions. And the line positions will the ones going to be responsible if something goes wrong. Or they're going to take the benefits if everything goes well. The line position example simply will be what I'm usually using here is all of you know Neil Armstrong, right? All of us know who Neil Armstrong is, the first man who stepped on the moon. But do you know the name of the person, the last person who told the last screw on the rocket, which if it wasn't tight enough, that rocket is going to explode, and Neil Armstrong never going to be even able to get out of the planet Earth? No, we don't. Why? Because he's just tough position. He's the one who doing everything so the line position can shine. And you have to understand that's how it is in life. That's how it is in business. There will be when you become a manager, there will be people who are actually doing the actual work, and there will be people who's gonna just sitting there get the benefits of somebody else's work. The controller, what's the position of the controller? Before the control was the person who just providing timely relevant information and preparing financial statements for the internal external user. That's not longer the same. He's the one who's gonna working on the strategy. He's gonna one who's gonna decide what the company goal is, how to identify the a proper planning decision strategy to achieve what the company wants. He will be the one now who's gonna do all the management work, the controller, and then the function of the accountant is changing. For the business process, in order everything to work, you have to understand the business process, and the business process work for only one reason: to create value for the customers. Now, the business process is the series of steps which are followed, which have only one purpose: to create value for the customers. Why the customers? Because again, the customer is the one who's going to give you the cash. Why cash? Because that's what you want. I mean, you may not want that. I mean, not literally cash. You want electronic fund transfer, or you want the money in your bank account, but literally. And that's what you're going to get at the end. That's why you have to create this chain of activities in the company when you have nothing and suddenly you have something that the customer wants and you're just selling it to him. So what we're going to do is let's go with something very super simple here. Let's go with I don't know. I mean, I know what I'm going to go with. I'm saying I don't know, but I know what I'm going to go with. Let's pretend that we are the first people on planet Earth. Very first people on planet Earth. We just yesterday we were monkeys, and today now we are humans, right? Use the Charles Darwin theory, right? So okay, we are human now. Okay, great. How we drink water? Well, something very simple. How we drink water? Well, there's so many options. I can use my hands, or I can use my head. With the hands, I can make it like a I don't know, just sip and just grab it from somewhere and put it in my mouth. And with my head, I'm just gonna stick my head in the river and gonna drink water. And surprisingly, when I stick my head in the river, there's a crocodile or alligator who's just waiting for me. Boom! I become a food for the alligator. So obviously, the drinking water is a challenge, right? So what we have to do? We have to do our research and development. Why? Because we want to drink water in the safe way, which will be, which can satisfy our thirst, and at the same time we feel safe and comfortable. So what we're going to do? We're going to start looking for examples. What will be the proper example? So we can create something that's going to help us to drink water. What way we're going to look? Obviously we're going to look somewhere in the nature, in the surrounding environment. And we're going to find out that some plants, they have a leaf in form of the cup, and creating that shape, which if it's close on the bottom, holding the water. Okay, now we come up with some research and development with the kind of shape and what kind of form this special unique device should have so we can drink water. So we come up with the idea that we can create a cup. Magically, we come up with the idea that cup, if we have actually cup, we can drink safely water. And now we start going with the product design. What we're gonna do? We're gonna do the paper cups. We're gonna do the China cups. We're gonna do metal cups. We're gonna do plastic cups. We're gonna do cups with with the handle from the left side, handle on the right side, handle from the inside, from the outside, all different shapes, all different forms. Why? So we can drink water. Then we're gonna go, what we're gonna do once we decide, okay, this is the product design that we want, that's the product design is gonna distinguish us from everybody else on the market. Let's go for it. And we start manufacturing. We manufacture in order to satisfy the needs of our customers. Well, but then we have a problem. What's our problem? We have a cup that can save everybody's life, but we're the only one who knows about it. So what we have to do, we have to tell the other people, hey, you know what? I have something that can change your life. You don't have to go to the river, put your head in the river anymore. How are we going to do this? Through marketing. And we're going to tell everybody, I have this special, unique device which is going to help you, and that's going to change your life. Excellent. But that doesn't solve our problem, does it? Because that's cup sitting in our warehouse. Now the client knows about it, but there's no value for him. Why? Because he cannot buy it. Why? Because it's in our warehouse. So what we have to do now, magically have to make that cup from our warehouse to move to the hands in the customer. And for that reason, we're going to use the distribution. How are we going to do it? Is it going to do it in the stores somewhere close to the customer, or are we going to use Uber to send it directly to the customer's house and to put it in the customer's hand? It doesn't matter. The fact is that this cup has to go to the customer's hand so he can use it to drink water. And the last thing that we have to do is we have to provide the customer service. Why? Because believe it or not, at least 2 of 10 people is going to call you and say, hey, how can I use this cup? And for what should I use it? I know I got it, but for what should I use it? And you can tell him, well, use it to pour some water on your head. Make sure it's cold so your brain calm. Right? And that's your value process. Again, in every single step of those value chain, you creating more value for the customers. Why? Because you want them to have your product. That brings us to the processes that we can have in the system. So we can run the lean production system. We can run enterprise system, or we can run risk management. Let's see which one of those approaches to improving the business process. First one is to lean production. Lean production is related closely to the idea of we to produce only and only the products that customer wants, the number of the products that the customer wants. In other words, we're going to have to know what the customer demand is. Now, the question is, how can I find the customer demand? Well, magically, most of the grocery stores in Canada, as you already know, they don't have that problem, or have it, or they reduce it to some extent. How? By collecting information. In every store that you're shopping, if you don't have a membership card, I'm not going to sell you. Or you're going to miss the promotion, which I want you to have. But in order to have it, you have to have a customer's card or membership card. Once you have a membership card, then my job is done. What I'm going to collect from your membership card? Everything. On which day you're shopping, at what time you're shopping, what's the item that you're shopping, how many of those items you're shopping, what's your shopping pattern? That's from one customer. How many customers going through the stores? Now I'm collecting all the entire information. Now, can I predict how many items I need to satisfy my customer demands next week? It won't be that hard, correct? So that's gonna help me to create this just-in-time production system. That's why the lean production sometimes is related to the just-in-time production. What's the just-in-time production? For that reason, we have this called online shopping. Why online shopping is related to just-in-time? Because usually it takes for the item to arrive from the purchase to your hands probably a week. Well, a week is more than enough time for you, for me, as a manufacturer, to produce the item, to put it in the package, send it in the mail, and that comes to you. So the number of the units produced obviously tend to be the number of the units sold. For that reason, I can say from the inventory, I don't have to make an overproduction, which overproduction obviously is going to affect my profitability by keeping that inventory, have it somewhere. Isn't what will be the if I'm let's say if I'm in the fresh flower business, isn't what it's going to be beautiful if I produce 20 roses and today I'm selling 20 roses. I'm producing 150 roses and then today I'm selling 150 roses. That will be the best. Then I'm not going to have to throw the roses away. Then I don't have to sell a single rose for $5 or one rose for $20. When I put a little bit strap on it and probably some picture or whatever, just to make it more distinctive than anything else. And you can say, oh my God, this is so cute. I have to get this. But it's $20. Doesn't matter. I need to have it. Right? And then you ask yourself, well, but you can buy 20 roses for $20. No, 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 no. I need this specific one. Why? Because it's so unique, so distinctive. I want it. That's also going to create, on the lean production, you're going to have few defects, less waste, and the quicker response, customers respond. At the end of the day, that's what we want. We want you to respond faster to the customers. Enterprise resource system will be a single software that's holding all the information. Now, the enterprise resource system that's now probably will be something outdated, but in the accounting system, we're still working with those enterprise resource systems because obviously the artificial intelligence, the high level technology is going to be available for the super rich companies. For the small companies at this point, we're still using the enterprise resource system. Even some companies, they're not using it because they don't have the capacity to purchase it and to maintain it. Having this system is not only ability to purchase it, but also you have to maintain it because that system requires a lot of setups and a lot of changes, constantly changes, in order to you to get the best of the system. So all that data will be recorded on one centralized system, and then you can extract data in form of the reports for the decision makers. The last one is the risk management. Risk management is idea that you as a manager, you have to proactively looking for the risk. You have to be able to identify the risk and you have to manage the risk. Idea is you to be on the prevention side rather than on the fixing side. It's always easy to prevent something to happen rather than fixing the situation after something happened. Now, once the company identified the risk, perhaps the most common management task will be to reduce the risk by implementing specific control function in place. What will be the examples? Those are the example of the specific business risk and more examples what we can do to reduce that risk. I'm going to leave it for you for the reading part. Now let's focus on the ethic and corporate governance and social responsibility, which apparently is important, especially today. Why? Because again, accountants as an accountant, he has to maintain a level of competence with the appropriate field of designation, which designation that will be chartered professional accountants. The competence is the one that's going to distinct some individual than another individual. Confidentiality is very essential as well. Why? Because Even when was that? So today, yeah, today I had to, I'm doing some work for the CPA BC. And today I have to complete this quiz. Every quiz they're doing the confidentiality quiz. What's a confidential, what's not confidential. They want me to remind me what's confidential, what is not confidential. Integrity is related to the fact that you as a professional, you as an accountant, or you as a manager, you to identify the conflict and avoid the conflict. What will be the conflict? That it can be the conflict of interest with the employee, with the client, professional competencies, not accepting favors, not compromising your judgment. In order to stay objective, you have to be out of the situation. Otherwise, you'll be subjective and unbiased, of course. Objectivity means that once you have available information, you're presenting everything. You're not holding and deciding which one is favorable, which one is favorable, which one is not favorable, and you communicating everything with your users, the favorable and unfavorable information, everything. Now the ethical standards. What's ethic? Ethic is idea which comes from the society of what's right and what's wrong. Now, that's in the society. How about in the business? Business, that ethic is standards which are set up by the different businesses in order to help the market to function effectively by creating again, the idea is to create value to the customers. Now, what's going to happen if we eliminate the ethic from the business? Without ethical standards in business, obviously, the economy, we, all of us who depends on that ethical standards, we're going to be without jobs. We're going to be without goods. We're going to be without services, and we're all going to be suffering. You can see many examples of that. I don't have to tell you this. One example that I can give you is about the ethical standards and what's right and wrong, and some the decisions that we have to make. It's very simple. I was invited a couple of weeks ago to participate in a special, a kind of unique set of people, group of people, to create accounting artificial intelligence. Now, reading this now without ethical standards, the economy and all of us who depends on it will suffer by not having jobs, not having good services, and not be able to achieve the goods. So that brings me to the point that if I don't have any, how can I say, human ethical standards, I'm not going to tell you how much they pay me. That's irrelevant. But I'm going to jump for it and I'm going to go for it, right? But if I'm worried about the future generations and we to protect and to do the right things, that bring me to the only logical answer that I can answer to those people, which is no. Thank you so much, but I'm not participating in those kind of activities which gonna give the benefits of to certain people using my knowledge and my experience. I prefer to give it to you and you to have a better chance to find a job rather than give it to somebody who's gonna destroy and gonna make sure that you don't have a job. But again, those are uh, the standards which coming from inside of you, which you have to kind of develop yourself. I cannot tell you what's right and wrong. You have to come up with that idea by yourself, what is right and what is wrong, and you to actually act ethical. Because if you decide to, if we all of us decide to abandon those ethical standards in business, what's going to happen with then we're going to have a lower quality of life with the less desirable goods and services, and we have to pay high price. Now, my question is, isn't what happening right now everywhere around us? We're not enjoying high quality of life. In the contrary, our quality of life getting less and less and less. The goods that we're getting are less desirable, and the services that we're getting, I mean, sometimes I barely can say that's a service. How about the price? The price is high, ginormous price. Why? Because somebody decided to abandon the ethical standards, which are unwritten rules, which are working only the benefits of us. So is the ethical standards equal to more profit? Is the more profit or generating more profit or no matter what kind of price, is that ethical? And I'm going to leave it to you. But this is something that you have to seriously think about it. Since I hope most of you are going to become a manager, most of you are going to be the people who this world will going to depend on. Eventually, one way or another, somebody is going to depend on you. Believe it or not, one day you're going to have this small person in your household who's going to look for you and going to chase you and going to ask you how to make my life better. And you'll be the one who have to set up those ethical standards. So one way or another, you'll be able to, you're going to have the ability to change the world. Not the entire world, but the people around you. So that brings us to corporate governance and who we govern and how we're going to do the governance. We're going to have the board of directors. Now, the board of directors, unfortunately, they have serving one purpose and one purpose only. They're the one who make sure that the shareholders get their profit. So what they have to do, they have to have incentive to monitoring the top managers. Now, the top managers, on the other hand, they have to pursue the objectives of the shareholders. So we end up in some kind of vicious circle here where everybody working the company to serve the shareholders, which the shareholder is the one who only invests in the company because they want more money. You know what the interesting with the investor is? Why the people investing? Because they want money. Why they want money? Because they have something. Can I invest if I don't have money? Obviously not. So if I have money, what do I want? More money. And then we're going to the shareholders want money. They're going to get the board of directors. Board of directors are going to put incentive to monitor the top managers. Who's going to work in the best interest of the shareholders, which want money. And that's how we're going to do the corporate governance. And now, but the corporate governance, then we're going to the corporate responsibilities, which is a little bit different. So who are we responsible? Well, we're responsible to the employees, to the customers, to the creators, suppliers. And lately we're putting another area for the stakeholders, which is not only the customer, employer, suppliers, but also the environment and the human rights. And now we have a corporate social responsibility, which is brought the responsibility, bring the responsibility of a completely different level. The last thing that I'm going to talk about before we close this chapter and let you for a break is the leadership perspective. Every unit of our life, either it's going to be family, it's going to be a company, it's going to be business, it's going to be a country, needs to have a leader. Now, organizational leaders unite the behavior of the employee around the two common themes. First one is the pursuing strategic goals, and the second one is to making optimal decisions. Now, which are the factors which influence the behavior of the leaders? First one is the intrinsic motivation, which coming inside of the person. What motivation come within us? Then we're going to have these extrinsic incentives, which is a way to highlight the important goals and motivate the other people around us to achieve them by offering type of rewards. And the last thing is to have the cognitive bias. Now, that's something very, very, very difficult. I find it for myself. Maybe I hope you can find it easy for yourself to achieve it. But everyone possesses some cognitive bias or distorted thoughts process. Now, it's important for the leaders, you to recognize this. Can you fight with it? No, you can't, but at least recognize it and find a way to put it aside if you want it this way. That's going to help you to make a rationale. Again, the whole goal is here to pursue the strategic goals and to make the optimal decision. Now, which are the attributes for the leaders? Once we have what the leaders need to do, which are the attributes that's going to help him to do those ones? There are two main categories. In order for somebody to be seen as a leader, he has to be credible, and he needs to be respectful. In order you or any of us to be credible, he has to possess some qualities. Credibility, in order for a person to be credible, he has to first have a technical competence in the area that he is a leader. Second, he has to have this personal integrity, which coming inside from him. And the last one is the strong communication skills. It doesn't matter how good you're technical, it doesn't matter how good personal integrity you have. If you don't have here's the strong motivation, communication skills, you will fail to be a leader. We have from today's leaders in the world, watch the news. You have to watch, you don't have to watch even half an hour. Watch 15 minutes news and ask yourself, which one of those leaders actually have a strong communication skills? About the technical competence and personal integrity, I don't even want to talk about it. That how they want me to see them as a credible. It's very hard to see any of the leaders today as a credible. Then in order to be a leader now, credible is one set of all the requirements to be the leader. Second one is to be respectful. In order to be respectful, the person has to have a strong mentoring skills. Second, has to have a strong listening skills. So communication skills is good thing, but strong listening skills is even important to be respectful. Now, what that means, sometimes you have to think why when you have you ever been in front of the mirror? Once what you see when you're in front of the mirror? I usually see I have one mouth and two ears. Have you ever wondered why we have 2 ears, one mouth? Maybe we should listen twice more than we talk. I mean, for me, it's hard because I still have to talk if I talk 3.5 hours, that's even better. But uh, I'm trying to listen. I'm not saying that I'm good at the listening. Maybe that's why I'm not respectful. because the listening skill is something that they have to work on. And the last one is the personal humility. That one no one can teach you, trust me. Either you have it, either you don't. And that's your chapter one, people. So let's take a break, and we're gonna continue in 10 minutes with at least I'm gonna start chapter two.